ITGS Guru here, and today we're going to be talking about spreadsheets. Spreadsheets have a large range of applications in businesses, from simple calculations of costs, budgeting, and accounting, to advanced analysis of sales and stock information. Basic spreadsheet information. All spreadsheets are based around the fundamental concepts of cells and data and references to them. Cell references. Each cell in a separate spreadsheet can contain data or a formula and has a cell type, such as numeric, text date, and scientific, which controls how the data is presented. Formula. A cell range is referred to a sequence of cells, such as A1 or A4, which refers to cells A1, A2, A3, and A4, as is written with the colon in between them. Relative cell referencing. When a formula is copied and pasted elsewhere in a spreadsheet, by default, the cell references in it are updated depending on the distance copied. Cell D4 contains the formula B4 plus C4. When this is copied down to the next row, it becomes B5 plus C5. So it calculates the total of the items on that row now, and so on and so forth with B6, C6. This is known as relative cell referencing because it changes relative to the formula's position and is often the desired functionality. Absolute cell referencing. Sometimes, however, a cell reference needs to stay the same no matter where it is copied. To do this, absolute cell referencing is required. Absolute cell referencing uses a $sign to indicate never change the cell's reference. Entering B4 plus C4 plus $1 will produce the required result, and when this is copied to the next row, it changes to B5 plus C5 plus $1. As you can see, the $1 stays constant. Note how the first two cell references change, but the third, which uses absolute cell referencing, stays the same. Conditional formatting. Conditional formatting can change the formatting of a cell depending on its content. For example, it could be used to make cells with negative values appear in red, cells with percentages over 80 appear in green, and so on. You can see right here under Table Tools, you can select Conditional Formatting and go down to Highlight Cell Rules in Microsoft Excel in order to access this feature. Security. A spreadsheet security can be protected as a password to prevent access, or allow read-only access. If only certain cells need to be protected from editing, for example, to prevent accidental changes in formula, cell locking options can be used. Charts and pivot tables. Graphical output is a commonly used feature of spreadsheets. Most spreadsheet applications can produce bar charts, line graphs, and pie charts in a variety of 2- and 3-dimensional forms. Pivot tables are an advanced output feature which can provide a summary of data in a spreadsheet. Pivot tables can count items, sum fields, and sort and filter data to produce a summary table which can be filtered to show only the required information. This makes it easier to understand trends in large spreadsheets. Pivot charts are a similar function which produce a chart rather than a table as an output. And here you have an example of many of the different charts that you can create using Microsoft Excel. Some common functions. Functions in spreadsheets can be divided into 4 main areas: math functions, text functions, logistic functions, and date functions. And we'll discuss a little bit about each of those. The names given here are those used in Microsoft Excel. And if you ever have to use one of these, you can go back to this PowerPoint as a reference. Some of the math functions include absolute value, which the code is ABS. In parentheses, you'll see the codes for these different terms. Square roots, which is SQRT, and trigonomic functions, which sine, cosine, and tan. And you'll have to put parentheses after those also in order to take the sign of whatever value you desire. More advanced functions would be to calculate standard deviation, STDEV, and perform data conversion between decimal, octal, binary, and hexadecimal. You can see what those are there. Some logistic functions. Logistic functions can produce results based on the status of other parts of the spreadsheet. The count function counts the number of cells in a given range. For example, COUNTIF only counts cells if they meet certain criteria. Date functions. Date functions aid calculations involving dates and times. They specify tasks such as returning the current time and day, now and today, as well as converting date information to and from text. Time and date functions are particularly useful in business because they can perform calculations while taking into account the number of working days in a week and the number of days in a month. Here's a bibliography of some sources that were used in creating this PowerPoint and that you might want to reference in order to find more information about spreadsheets. And here at ITGS Guru, we close with, stay nerdy, my friends.